Let me ask you, what makes manga so special? This is kind of like the age-old "does Avatar: The Last Airbender count as anime?" discussion where everyone conflates medium and a place of origin with like the vibes of anime, and then gets in a fight about whether Avatar fits the anime vibe or not. At the end of the day, the answer doesn't matter.
None of this matters.
It's fun to think about. But there is something about manga that distinguishes it from superhero comics, French
bande dessinée,
and graphic memoirs. Why else would it be taking up half of the comics area at your local Barnes & Noble? This image is from 2010, it's bringing back memories. A lot of people point to the glimpses of Japanese culture you see in manga, or the cliches that are particular to the medium. Talk to someone who knows how manga publishing works, and they'll tie it to the competitive nature of magazine serialization. For me, manga is unique because I can sense a singular authorial voice from a book. No doubt that there's an editor and some art assistants involved too. But when I read manga, I picture an author putting their heart and soul into drawing and making their ideas come to life. Sometimes that process creates a decade-spanning adventure about friendship and strength. And other times, it makes a comic with really pretty pictures of maids. There's an expectation in manga that the author squeezes every ounce of their talent to draw their story because they believe they must. So, when in December of 2025, Tonari no Young Jump announced the one-shot Mikuni no Habakiri-sama as the winner of their newcomer manga contest, it put the label in hot water. At first glance, the manga seemed good enough. The art is pretty and detailed, there's plenty of action and lots of fan service, but it's oddly hard to read. The panels don't naturally lead your eyes to the next scene, so you try to pay closer attention. And then you start to notice all the strange artistic choices. The main character's horns aren't drawn consistently, some of the background characters have eccentric tastes in fashion, and there's just something off about the poses. Is that a man or a woman? The artwork isn't bad in the typical way, but you're constantly asking, what was the artist thinking when they drew this? Oh, wait. This looks like AI. Well, technically, it hasn't been confirmed as AI, but a good chunk of the internet thinks it is. Shueisha, the publisher behind Young Jump and the much more famous Shonen Jump, has refrained from making further comments about this nomination too. They haven't confirmed nor denied the AI allegations, nor have they retracted the award in its prize of 430,000 yen. That's roughly 2,500 US dollars. As things stand right now, this comic that heavily reeks of AI received Shueisha's approval. Greatly disappointing, but frankly unsurprising, Shueisha allows AI-generated comics on their user-submitted manga platform, Jump Rookie, and they have their own ChatGPT-based chat tool called Comic Copilot, advertised to help creators with brainstorming, script writing, and story critiques. This industry leader has embraced generative AI for manga production. So, should I try embracing it too? Okay, here's the deal. I'm going to try making a 4-panel comic with AI as someone who knows how to draw. And my mission is to see how much work generative AI can take over for me. Maybe that's everything, or just a small part of it. The tool I'm using is one called CoPainter. I chose this tool because I saw some people on Japanese art Twitter use it, and because it's specifically designed for anime and manga illustration. Instead of providing a single chatbot interface, CoPainter divides itself into several features. We have the typical text and image input-based prompting, but also rough to color, line art, undercoloring, coloring, pose transfer, and a few others. CoPainter advertises itself as a creator-friendly assistant that helps streamline the art process, rather than taking it over entirely. It promises that CoPainter won't train on the files you upload to it, but you'll be agreeing to Google's Gemini seeing them, so keep that in mind. To test out these features, I first made a 4-panel comic with my characters, my mascot character Yagino, and this avatar of myself. I drew a rough draft that established the general layout and poses, then a sketch that nailed in the details, followed by clean line art, and finally, values and lettering. はい、今月のお給料だよ。
やった、お金だ。
いつも頑張って働いてくれてるからな。自分にご褒美買ってくれるといいな。
ただいま戻りました。
あ、おかえり。 で、何買ってきたの？
自分への投資が一番のご褒美。これで仕事も楽ちん。
このまま同じ給料もらうつもりなの？ This finished work is a comic created start to finish with my own hands, with every creative decision made by me. I don't expect the AI to give me exactly this image, but I want it to have most of the key elements, like the layout, poses, and expressions. Before I ask CoPainter to make me a comic, let's see what it's good at. In the AI Assistant Tool's prompt box, the first example it lists is create a 3-view drawing of this character. Okay, let's do it. Make me a design sheet of Yagino using this single image of her. First thought, it isn't too bad. She's got her key features like the maid outfit, the bell with red ribbon, horns, and ears. It's kind of cool to see art of my character that I didn't make. Yeah, at most, this feels like fan art. It doesn't feel like it's my artwork. Sure, this image looks clean and admittedly more balanced than my artwork, but she's clearly not drawn in the same style. How about we give it this image of my avatar then? Again, impressed that it's not ugly, but there are subtle differences in the shapes that were lost in the process. The design looks smoothed out and doesn't have the sharp strokes from my artwork. She'll feel right at home in an episode of Doraemon though. Now for the real test. Let's give the AI assistant the same images of my characters, plus a text prompt. Make a 4-panel comic with the input characters. In the first panel, have the blue character give the yellow maid money, yada yada. Click generate, and now we wait. And keep waiting. Okay, finally, it's here. Well, first of all, I got misgendered by the AI. Second, this is already a mess. AI often melts things that require anything beyond copying and pasting from another image, and you can see that in Yagino's expression and the literal heap of crap in my hand. I really don't know what it's trying to do with my avatar. It doesn't keep the same complexion or outfit. I'm giving this an F. It failed the assignment. But let's say I don't mind fixing some of these areas by hand. And the only thing I want the AI to fix is the staging of the scene. In the third panel, we want to see the back of my avatar's head looking down at the Roomba on the floor. So we'll type that into the prompt window. And it put my head in the wrong panel and gave the characters different faces. Not only does AI fail to count, it can't stop itself from messing with parts you didn't give instructions on. Where did Yagino go shopping? The recycling center? Okay, one last edit to this version. CoPainter, draw this comic in the, the Dragon Ball art style. You know, just for fun. It looks like Toriyama Akira's legacy boils down to this face, dust clouds, and speed lines. Alright, that was fun and all, but let's get serious again. These images were generated just from my character's artwork and a text prompt. Let's give the AI a better chance by feeding it my comic sketch. In goes the sketch in addition to my character pictures. I prompt it to make a comic, and it gives me this. While still not perfect, like I don't know why I changed the panel shapes, this is much closer to my hand-drawn comic. Oh, hold on a second. I've been working with CoPainter's normal AI model, but they have a pricier Pro model. Will this be any different? Oh, well, ignoring some of the pose differences and the Roomba on the couch, the character designs are consistent, and the staging is very close to my sketch. I hate to say it, but I can see someone publishing this. Actually, even the normal model's output is usable. They both need some hand-drawn corrections, but it probably wouldn't be as much work as drawing the comic from scratch. This is kind of scary. Hey, what if the AI is giving me this panel layout because I'm actually giving it too much instruction? What if I just hand it my sketch and tell it to ink it? Oh no, it kinda looks good. It's maybe better than my art. I'll have to fix a few details like Yagino's hair and horns, but otherwise, this is really close to what I had in my head. Did I just make art with AI? I mean, this image conveys the ideas I wanted to communicate. I can share my joke with this comic. So that means it's good enough to post as my own art, right? Nah, I'm just kidding with you. I want to be realistic. I do mean it when I say some of these AI outputs are usable. With some or a lot of redrawing, these images could be worked into a decent looking comic. But that's separate from my sense of ownership over this work. Like, you wouldn't say you cooked food if you microwaved a TV dinner and then added hot sauce to it, right? Same deal. This was my first time using AI image generation with my own art, and it made me realize something. I love the feeling of control I have when I'm making art. What I do on this blank canvas is completely up to me and my skills. Everything on here is based on my choices, and I am responsible for them. It's a sense of power and autonomy I can't get from anything else. Sure, if I were to post my work online or submit it to a publisher, some people are going to dislike it or even ask for changes. Still, how I interpret their feedback and decide to implement them or not is up to me. Engagement with my artwork is not something I control, but I have complete agency over my art when I'm putting my head down on my desk and scratching away at the manuscript. When I put my art through AI, I saw the parts of me in my art die. And I don't just mean I saw my art style get washed away. I felt genuinely offended at how the AI ignored pose directions and staging choices. In return, I saw just how much decision making I was doing. I exaggerated poses to communicate emotions better. I placed characters in specific parts of the panel to convey movement and a passage of time. One thing I didn't even bother prompting the AI with was speech bubbles. When I drew the comic, I wanted to design it so it was easy to know the order of the dialogue, whether you read it from left to right or right to left. And I did that by stacking the bubbles from top to bottom in the center, with the characters off to the side. I don't know how I'm going to do that with these AI-generated comics. I don't even want to think about what I would have to do to prompt the AI to make those changes, given the difficulty AI has with making small, fine-tuned fixes. At that point, I should draw it myself. And that's what I did. I felt that way using CoPainter's other tools too. Rough to color was totally unusable for me. Whether it was my rough draft, my detailed sketch, or even my line art file, it gave me unrecognizable characters in vastly different settings. The monochromatic comic model gave me like freakish abstract art, and in this one, the blue guy seems to be like he's in some financial trouble. Probably doesn't make enough to support him and his small clone. Rough to line art and rough to ink, which basically do the same thing in slightly different styles, were only comparatively better. The first one changed all the characters into cute girls, probably because it's mainly trained on images of cute girls. And the latter that looked more like my art was messy and gave both characters horns. Also, I left a bowl of gnocchi on the ground. The pose transfer feature could have been useful if it rendered the clothes at all, but it just made the outfits look really snug on the body. Wait, hold on, what does this remind me of? Oh, right, yeah. Anyway, the only tool that sort of works as intended is the undercoloring feature that's supposed to fill the base colors of your artwork based on input hints. But I can do that much easier with the bucket tool and pretty much any modern art software. Why would I go through the extra hassle of exporting files to use another service? I swear, AI developers don't actually know how spoiled artists are by digital tools these days. Clip Studio's got a bunch of affordable assets and 3D models, and more people are picking up Blender to model environments and objects. We don't need overly complex, difficult-to-use genAI tools. Even in the best looking output, the inked image based on my detailed sketch, the AI missed Yagino's pose, added sweat marks on my head when it wasn't told to, and then didn't bother to fix the wonkiest part of my art. This wouldn't be an issue if a human being inked this. Let me point out, this is a really simple comic. There are no dramatic angles, no complicated outfits, no subtle facial expressions, not even backgrounds. That was a lot of work for 5 seconds. If AI struggles with this level of complexity, it's not going to compete in the commercial comics market anytime soon. This is what people mean when they say AI art is soulless. They don't feel the intentions behind the images because AI doesn't have intentions. All it does is take text and image prompts and connects those prompts to some convoluted statistical aggregation of its training data. Do you want busty men? Because that's how you get busty men. The only intentions or meanings you get from the artist or the prompter through their AI art are as deep as a list of tags on an Instagram post, because that's how prompting works. And to me, any artist who is satisfied with their AI creation is admitting to the shallowness of their message. As a side note, there's a bunch of self-proclaimed AI manga artists on the platform Note, which is basically Japanese Substack. They're all writing articles about the best ways to prompt AI for comics and how their book got into the Amazon Kindle bestseller ranking of the day, probably because it was free. A common topic they write about is that there are limits to AI image creation and how AI artists have to compete with unique ideas and stories instead. They're so close to admitting that their writing, the most human part of their work, is what gives them any chance at reaching people's hearts. And still, they don't realize how using AI images drags them down. I want to shake them by the shoulders and snap them out of whatever spell they're under. It is clear to me that AI-generated images are insufficient for creating manga. Even if they look pretty, AI cannot meet the demand for emotional, expressive, complex artwork. If so, what would compel an artist to use generative AI in their art? They could be too lazy to learn how to draw, or they already have the skills but don't want to put in the time and effort for difficult illustrations. They could be using AI art as a way to earn clout. They want to be seen as an artist without actually caring about the art they produce. Or they could be overwhelmed with deadlines while lacking the time, skill, or human assistance needed to finish their work. It pains me to say this, but we're probably going to see more AI art and manga in the near future. What's going to happen, and what I'm already seeing, is artists using AI-generated art to cut corners. Kengan Ashida's artist, Daro Meron, is a good example of this. He's been very honest about his experiments with genAI on his Twitter. Here he is feeding AI character sheets and its sketches to create line art for his comic. Here he is producing a bunch of different shots of his character sitting and using one of those. Here he is creating reference images from AI, then tracing them in his style. The last example is his most noticeable use of AI, but it's been edited to a presentable level. If, like Daro Meron, an artist knows how to incorporate AI images into their work in a natural way and finds it easier than drawing them themselves, nothing is stopping them right now other than the stigma that comes from AI. So I say we should strengthen that stigma. For starters, I think it's way too late to expect any ethical use of generative AI. Talk about ethical AI all you like, but let's be honest. If someone uses generative AI for images, it's most likely going to be based on either OpenAI, Grok, Google Gemini, or Meta AI. These models use training data allegedly full of stolen images. And really sit and think about what that means. Don't just stop at the ownership artists and photographers have over their work. Think of all the people depicted in those photos and videos who didn't consent to their likeliness being used this way. Think of all the pornography and the training data that hasn't been checked for revenge porn or CP. It should sicken you. Or am I the odd one out for not having terabytes of porn on me? Jeez, and I'm not even talking about the environmental impacts. Second, if you rely on AI to help you make art, especially drawing, it's only going to hurt you in the long run. Daromeron is only able to make AI art work for him because he already knows how to draw. AI art can make you images, but it can't teach you what looks good. Likewise, genAI tends to attract lazy hacks that only care about profit and clout, and very little about the actual substance of things. I doubt that a beginner or intermediate level artist can produce good art while relying on AI. Look, you need to use your brain when you draw. Your art is going to look messed up if you reference fake pictures. Your development is going to stifle if all you're doing is redrawing anime faces on pre-rendered bodies. Actually listen to Hayao Miyazaki and find inspiration from real life and other artists, not this slot machine. Do yourself a favor and train your mind. I get that manga artists are desperate to find ways to produce art quickly and painlessly. Apparently, there's a shortage of manga assistants, and expectations for art quality are higher than ever. But the costs of AI, morally, environmentally, artistically, are still too much. We already know that social media is gradually becoming a wasteland full of slop content. The last thing we want is for that slop to seep into our beloved art form. I read manga because it can be fun and beautiful, ugly and horrifying, imperfect and raw. And I'm not going to lower my standards, and neither should you. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, subscribe, and also hype the video. The hyping actually helped a lot last time. And a special thanks to my lovely Patreon members. Your name can join them here on my video for $3 a month. Or for $10, you can get a little illustration by me. Speaking of art, join me on Twitch to watch me draw, or I might be playing games. And follow me on Blue Sky to see what I'm up to between videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!